So what we like to do to begin the meeting is just go around and everyone introduce yourself and take maybe 30 seconds and tell us where you're located and what company you're with or what you do or, anything about yourself. And we'll also be sending everyone's contact information if that's okay. That way, if anyone wants to continue, the idea is to connect with folks. You hear something interesting from someone, be great, if you want to continue a conversation further. And we always like to know about any successes we have from that. So, but again, welcome to everyone. I'll go ahead and start off, and I'll probably just read off each person's name. And if you want to tell us where you're at and introduce yourself, that'd be great. I'm Mark Wyatt, the CEO and founder of Quantive Group. And we have a product called Agile Connect, which is agile business development that we help tech companies cradle to grave sales, marketing, business development. And I'll be going into more detail about that. So I'll send it on over to Andrew.
Hey everyone, my name is Andrew and I'm a big fan of Tech Sales Network. I'm the founder and CEO of the company Tech Vision. So we provide the tech solutions for innovative companies, for tech and non-tech companies as well. So we, in the one sentence, we do the software engineering. So we are the US registered company, but we have a awesome talents in Europe and Africa. I pass to Jeff Martin.
Thanks, Andrew. I'm Jeff. I work as a consultant right now at Meta. I'm helping them with their product strategy and the go-to-market solutions. Also working with a couple of companies out of Florida to help them with executive coaching structure and growth strategy. I will go ahead and located in California. I will go ahead and pass to Olya.
Thanks, Jeff. So, hey everyone, my name is Olya. I am located in Czech Republic. So I was helping Mark probably to found the Quantive team and our processes, and I'm a chief operating officer in Quantive. So I'm in charge of everything that is happening behind the scenes and on the scenes too. And yeah, I'm excited about this position. And I will pass it to Ilya.
Thank you, Olya. My name is Ilya. I'm the member of Quantive Group, and I'm basically helping Olya to do this behind the scenes stuff. And I'll pass this to Craig.
So hi, Craig Duckworth. I am the president of Belta Technology. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and we do industrial cybersecurity for manufacturing on SCADA systems, on industrial control systems on the plant floor. And I'm going to pass it to Brian Molly.
Thank you, Craig. My name is Brian Molly. I'm located right outside of Columbus, Ohio for the time being. I am an account executive at Infor, selling ERP applications and supply chain applications. Nice to meet everyone. And I do have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour, so I think this call is being recorded, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll make that available to everyone as well.
Okay, perfect. I will pass to Garrett.
Hey, how's everybody doing? My name is Garrett Dickerson. I am currently an urban planner outside of DC in Maryland, and I'm just expressing my interest in tech sales. So.
Great, thanks, Garrett. And David E.W.
Sorry, everybody. David Wattell is my full name. I'm the CEO of a company called Rising Cloud. We are a IWAS, one of a kind, intelligent workload as a service. We've created an ability to compete with any cloud compute hyperscaler out there. We're some 60 to 80% faster and cheaper than Lambda and the counterparts. We've aligned with Lenovo worldwide and are rolling out our cloud compute solution to everybody. We also have a GPU solution, and we do stateful and stateless containerized application work for people.
Great, thanks, David. And what about Fred?
Okay, not muted. I'm Fred Mastropolito, and I run a company called Polito Incorporated. We do pen testing, incident response, computer forensics. We're your cybersecurity experts for anything that's usually technical related. We help large companies, small companies, finance, health sector, local, state government, and yeah, just definitely looking forward to seeing what I can learn here on this call. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Fred. Where are you located?
In Virginia, close to DC.
Okay, great. Let's see. And John, did you tell us about yourself? I can't remember. John Harris.
Hi, John Harris. I'm in Norwalk, Connecticut. I work for a nonprofit called the IHAD Institute, In-Home Addiction Treatment Institute. And so there's not really much sales. I have a history of sales in different environments. And we have meetings with medical device companies that kind of, go through different medical technology that could service this population. And yeah, I'm happy to be here, happy to learn, and definitely interested about, technology and enterprise sales.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it. And let's see, I think we got almost everyone, but there is someone EI12971, and I assume that's not your name. But I don't know, maybe that's somebody that's dialed in twice or something. I'm not sure. But anyways, I didn't get to tell you, but I'm located in Dayton, Ohio. And is there anyone left? Go ahead and speak up.
Yeah, John, you missed me, Jim Russo.
Oh, sorry, Jim, go ahead.
That's okay, no worries. Hi, everyone. Thanks for welcoming me to this, my first meeting with the group. I'm also interested in learning about the group and the members and see what can come of it. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Business Development Officer for a company called Control B. We are an IT infrastructure company. It's pretty much anything from Wi-Fi, networking, any wireless networking capabilities, full capabilities, relocation services, whether it's across the state or across the state, we have access to.
Okay. Yeah, we're having a little trouble hearing you. I'm not sure.
Yeah. We can barely hear you, Jim.
Huh. Sorry about that. Is that any better?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay, I did move the mic a little closer. How far back do I have to go? Anyway, thanks for having me on here. I'm with an IT infrastructure services company. So anything IT infrastructure related to you know, and looking forward to getting to know each of you a little bit.
Okay, thanks, Jim. And looks like a couple more people joined. And Dijan Ninov?
Dejan Ninov. Hi.
Hi, where are you from and what company are you with?
I'm sitting in Boise, Idaho. I'm with a company called One Health. I also am engaged with a software consulting business called Palatal Software.
Okay, great. And also Philip Flitchy.
Hello, yes. I'm engaged with a company called Cyker, and we take care of the management of cybersecurity. So not the technical part of it, but really the strategical aspect of cybersecurity within a company.
Okay, great. All right, anyone else? This is a great group. This is the most we've had on Tech Sales Network for a while. So welcome, everyone. Great to have you. Really hope you get something out of this, something helpful. And thanks for the introductions. And looks like we got a good diverse group from a lot of different companies all over the world. So really appreciate the time that you've taken. Well, today's topic, we're going to be talking about Agile business development, and can give you a little bit of background on myself and how we got here. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had multiple tech startups in the past 20 years. A couple of them I've sold and exited and funded new things. And I've done all types of internet web software development, from building the online publisher portal for the Library of Congress, flew to DC, got the requirements, closed the deal, sold it. I'm a developer. I had a team build it. Closed US Bank, built their first online reverse auction. So I've gone through these iterations for 20 years of going out and finding this business, closing it, and then building it. And a few years ago, I thought, why don't I just start a consulting to help technology companies with just business development? And I wanted to take a very different approach than what I heard a lot of them doing, because I've talked to dozens of tech companies, CEOs, and VPs of sales. And instead of doing the typical hiring salespeople, hiring marketing companies, firing them, and going through those iterations, I wanted to basically take the agile process and apply it to business development. So business development could become a very predictable, more of a process for them. And I didn't want to just give them a process, but I wanted to execute on it. And so that's where we're at now. I've got a team of 8 internationally, and that's what we do. And I'm going to go through the process of how we're helping technology companies cradle to grave with business development. And I call it business development because, sales and marketing, sometimes it's like, they're like different things. Well, we view it all as the same. Bottom line is new client acquisition. How do we get to that point of turning new client acquisition into a predictable, repeatable process? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you this process that we've been doing now for several years, having really good success at it, helping over a dozen or more tech companies with it. And as I go through here, please feel free to interrupt me or ask questions. No problem whatsoever. Is everyone here familiar with Agile software development? Just kind of show of hands. With it. And for those that may not be familiar with it, it's a process that's come up. I'm pretty sure it came from automotive. It's a way through more iterative, fail fast, quicker cycles to accomplish the building of software, as opposed to your typical waterfall project management style. And I've been doing it at Honda and Kroger, and that's what I've used to build software. So when we apply Agile to business development, there's a lot of similarities when you're building software with it. This process that we've identified 4 main cycles in it. And the first one is what we call a micro campaign. And I'll go into more detail about what that is. But we start out with these micro campaigns of reaching out to not thousands, but hundreds of contacts. Once we identify a micro campaign, then we execute on it through what we like to call personal outreach, as opposed to cold outreach. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. Once we do that outreach activity, we have data that comes back from that activity that we analyze. And that's the data analysis part of this process. And once we look at that data, the good, the bad, the ugly, the failures, the successes, then we move into what we call market discovery. And market discovery is basically some conclusions that we're able to assess from that data. Then we rinse and repeat, go through it again. And we continue this cycle and build the data. The more data we have, the more certain we become of a certain market. So what is a micro campaign? Well, what we've found historically, a lot of times companies will, go to ZoomInfo, go get a database, they'll get thousands or 10,000 plus companies, and that's a target for them, and they're going to go after all these thousands of companies. What we do is we take more of a more surgical approach, and we want to identify a micro campaign of 200 to 300 companies. And what we do is come up with this ICP, or this ideal client profile. And we don't want to come up with just one micro campaign. We actually, come up with several. So it may be the CEO of a certain industry and a certain size and certain location. Then we may say, well, let's go target the CFO of that same profile, or let's change the size of the company. And so we dial in a few of these variables of what we're going to go after. Now, that's only one half of the equation. The other half that's as equally as important is what message is going to be used in order to reach out to these folks. And I didn't mention, but we have 3 key performance indicators that we put around this process. The first one is a meaningful meeting that leads to a proposal that leads to a close. Those are the KPI that we use in this process. So the message is really intended to meet the first KPI of a meaningful meeting. It's not a heavy marketing message, but it's a personalized message to get that individual to meet with us. Any questions on the micro campaign?
How do you select those 200 to 300 companies?
That's a good question. What we like to do is, we spend a little bit of time with our clients to find out where they've had successes in the past, what targets they've been thinking about, what maybe industry intel that they have, and, talk a little bit about, who we're going to target. We don't want to spend too much time in the analysis of that, because we want to get the agile wheel spinning. We want to come up with a few of these and then execute on it so that we can get data back, so that we can make better decisions. And those companies, we can filter out some of the searches on LinkedIn or Zoom Info, or whatever databases that they may have, or they may have contacts from the past that they've used as well. And those targets, we basically like to help them think about them in terms of these dials and these filters, so that we're going through iterations and not just shotgunning the whole thing all the time.
Okay.
So Mark, are you changing up your message based on persona, CFO, CEO, COO, or are you trying to repurpose one general message across the board?
That's a good question. No, we like to change the message up, and we want to give thought to who we're reaching out to, what is their title, what are their problems, what are their issues, what's going to be a meaning. We don't just want a meaningful meeting. When I say meaningful meeting, it's not just for us, but we want it to be for the prospect as well. We don't want to waste their time. So if there's a value prop for a CFO within the offering, we want to put that in there, of where we're helping CFOs solve a certain problem. Any other questions on the micro campaign? Okay, so once we dial that in, we want to move to execute on it. And the execution is on an outreach. And we, want to use, we have automated tools. We're not a software company. We use the best of what's out there in automation to do voicemail drops, some email, some social media, primarily LinkedIn. And I want to emphasize that this is not a spam thing. We're not doing thousands. This is very personalized. And we want to be very careful about the messages, and also who we're reaching out to, that it is personal and it is driving for a meeting. So this isn't just a one-way communique of buy my stuff. It's let's meet and talk about some issues. So the core of a lot of this is solution selling. So it's the uncovering needs, pain points to drive a opportunity forward. We also continue to investigate other channels for the connections, either through Reddit, through Slack, or any of the other communication channels that arise. We try not to limit ourselves to this, although we do find that LinkedIn seems to be one of the best, and then we augment the LinkedIn outreach with voicemail drops or email to some of those same folks that connect with us.
So I assume you're using Sales Navigator in LinkedIn?
Yeah, Sales Navigator is a must. Yes.
Okay.
And again, what we're trying to drive is this KPI. We're not just trying to do activity just to feel like we're, moving the dial or that we're doing some marketing activity. We really turn this into a process so that we're measuring it through the number of meaningful meetings. And if we do get meetings on the calendar and they're not meaningful, and we have you rate these meetings, and we have a spreadsheet that all the data goes into, and if they're not meaningful, we want to know, why and why they're rated that way. So it's okay that we have meetings that aren't good, but the important thing is we learn from them and we understand what was the messaging, where did it fail, what was the ICP. And if we see patterns in either good or bad, we want to change things. So in other words, if we see a pattern of meetings that are not good with a specific ICP, at some point we're going to say, well, we have enough data now to make the decision we're not reaching out to this ICP any longer, because we've tried with multiple messages and we're not getting a response. And then that way you improve your efforts by putting effort where you are getting successes. And Olya has done a good job in helping clients define that of meaningful meeting. And maybe she can tell us a little bit about how she goes about doing that.
Yeah, so I can share some experience that we did for Quantif. So we had a lot of meetings that were coming to Mark's calendar, but we wanted not to make Mark more busy by scheduling even more meetings to his calendar, but to make his time more efficient and to increase the closure rates, right? Which happens between the meaningful meetings and proposals. So basically that more meetings leads to proposals. And we started rating every meeting that Mark has. And we added a few more qualification questions and started just to collect the data. And as we collected the data, we were analyzing which meetings, which ICPs brought to the meetings that were rated as 5s or 4s, which are like good marks for our meetings. And then we did the reverse engineering and then decided to scale basically on this specific ICP. And that helped us to get more proposals without having more meetings, without needing to spend more time in Zoom. So this was one of our recent discoveries that was based on the data for like one year, and it's quite good. And also we record all the meetings so then we can analyze it. For us, it's also the source of data, and this way we can continuously improve. And this is the same process we want our clients to apply, so that they can also increase the quality and efficiency of their time.
Thanks, Olya. So the data that comes in, we have APIs into each of those sources of outreach. And also we do have a simple form that we fill out for each meeting. And the data is displayed on a simple dashboard that shows us what titles the person has that are responding, or this dashboard could be the failures. These are the companies not responding, the size companies not responding, or industries. or it could be the successes. Either one. We want to know that information. What industries are they? What's the head count? Perhaps what geographic location? And then, of course, we can segment it even further. We're not limited to these data points, but there are even more that we can look at to see patterns. The idea is to start to see patterns in the data where we can put more effort. Any questions on this part of it? All right, so one of the fourth stage is the discovery part. So as we go through these iterations, we're building a sales funnel by having meetings, but we're also doing market discovery by finding out what messages are resonating with which markets and what messages aren't. And so as we go through these micro campaign iterations, we're going down this cone of uncertainty, which is a term used in software development. And the way that the cone of uncertainty works in software is the client has this thing that they want built, and you as the vendor have this idea of what they want. As you go through the discovery process with that client, and you build your MVPs and you do, prototyping, you understand better and better what it is the client actually wants. Well, by going through the same process in Agile with business development, you're getting a better and better idea of certainty of what markets are responding and which ones aren't to your message. So that's basically the whole process. And, we've tried to keep it fairly straightforward and simple because we want it to be results driven. We don't want to get too bogged down in anything other than keeping the goal on the finish line of new client acquisition.
What typically is the time it requires to get that whole process getting some results?
That's a good question. I always like to say it depends on how well the market is and the offering is to that market. So if you're trying to sell snow to Eskimos, of course, it's going to be really hard to get data other than failure data. But what we have found is we like to do at least a 90-day pilot. Now, within that 90 days, we start to see activity within 30. But it's like a snowball that builds. If you stop at 30 days, there's a lot of momentum that you're going to lose that you would get in the next 60 and 90 days. So that's why we have to do a 90-day pilot as a minimum in order to have a good amount of data to say, okay, these markets or ICPs are responding and these aren't. And then you can take that and then make some data-driven decisions going forward. And we execute on the process. We don't just give you a process, but me and the team, we execute on it with meeting with you and then also using some of the automated tools as well in order to get the numbers, the amount of numbers. One of the big misconceptions about personal outreach and outbound is, I'm gonna reach out to 100 people and maybe I'm gonna get, 20 or 30 meetings. Well, it's you're going to reach out to, several hundred people and maybe get a couple of meetings. So, I mean, the volume of numbers really has to be there, especially at the beginning. Now, once you apply the Agile process and you start to get more certainty, well, then, your outreach does not need to be as much of a volume, but the volume needs to be there so you can do the market discovery.
Okay.
And is this model based in North America, or could this be international? like for the messaging?
Yeah, that's a good question. We started out, my core competency is selling in United States. That's what I've historically always done. So that's what I started the company out at. Now, though, especially last year, we've been having good success in Eastern Europe and reaching out also to companies in South America as well. Now, I will tell you that if we do something like that for you, we're going to need your, some of your input for any of those other markets as far as the ICPs and the messaging and that type of thing. I mean, we do. My team is located in Eastern Europe and in Canada and a couple other places, but we don't like have every geography of the globe covered as far as understanding the markets and the messaging.
Do you cover technical services as well, or purely products?
No, definitely technical services. So it's really solution selling. This doesn't seem to be a good fit for SaaS companies that are selling, $49.95 a month type things. Or I mean, like $50 a month. They usually, need to have hundreds or thousands of clients, and so they usually have to go, more of an inbound type activity. But yeah, one of our clients is a company out of Finland that sells hardware, software combo technology to the automotive market, and they've had good success with this.
And what about services that are more standard? It's still a service, but it's more like there's more competition around it. Do you think can you still be able to pinpoint on potential clients, or is it more difficult?
Well, yeah, I mean, the more competitive something you have, I mean, it's gonna be harder. I will tell you that I do think that by using the Agile process and looking for ways to differentiate yourself by listening to the market and what their pain points are, you could morph your offering. I mean, not, change it completely, but morph it a little bit around what you're hearing as a response back from the market. That would be a huge differentiator, I can tell you right now, from most tech companies. I mean, I've met with hundreds of tech companies, and I would say probably the majority of them build something in a vacuum and then they want to go to market with it. And they've had some success with certain companies in a market, and it makes them feel like every company like that is going to want their product. They haven't really done competitive analysis. They haven't really thought about what differentiates them or their messaging, and they just hire sales guys and keep plowing at it, and they don't really have much success. So, I do think that this process is absolutely different than what a lot of tech companies are doing to try and generate clients.
So are you going, is someone of your team having those initial discussions, or are you just guiding us towards through the process?
Yeah, we don't have any SDRs. I mean, I don't have any sales folks on staff to do meetings. So all of our clients initially, when we start out with them, they do the meetings. Now, if you do want to look at hiring a person, we can help you with that. And what I usually recommend is we can help you find a fractional person that's a solution selling type person that could do some of the meetings. But as far as like having someone on the bench to do that, most companies that do that person sits around twiddling their thumbs most of the time, or playing around on LinkedIn, doing the stuff on LinkedIn we do like 10 times what a salesperson would do in trying to get meetings.
And so how do you charge for your service?
We're consultants, so we have a discounted hourly rate of $85 an hour, and we start our clients at 10 hours a week. So it's about a $3,400 a month spend, and the pilot over 90 days is about 10K.
So $85 per hour, 10 hours a week over a period of 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you know, what the deliverable is the activity of the outreach and the data, and to help, you know, with making better decisions going forward, and for us to, you know, see that it's going to be a fit for your company, and hopefully it can be something we can continue to help you to do.
And the fractional selling persons that could take the relay, any idea of how much they cost?
You know, that's something that will really vary depending on the skill level and the need, you know, and also their geographic location. So, you know, my hope would be to try to fit them into the 85 an hour range for you, and to find someone, you know, like that.
Okay.
But this person, you know, what I would try to help you find is someone that would basically just start out probably 5 to 10 hours a week just to do, you know, meetings, spend some time, learn about your company and some of your offering, but, you know, be someone of a caliber that could have intelligent initial conversations to tee up for the next, you know, the next meeting. But the thing that we want to do is build a sales funnel before that person comes on, so that there's actually some, you know, meaningful meetings that they're going to be able to do. I mean, I'm available to help some with that, and to coach and to guide, but I wouldn't be a permanent solution for it. I really would like to help you find someone and start interviewing someone. And I mean, we'll take them on ourselves, and we can build that into our fee or whatever. And then at some point, if you wanted to hire them or it was a fit, but for a lot of companies, just continuing with a fractional person, you know, would make a lot of sense for them.
So let's recap the work that you are doing. So you work with us to identify 200 to 300 potential clients. And then you do the LinkedIn or the email reach, correct?
Right. Yeah, we do all that activity. We have some automated SaaS tools so that we can get the numbers up. Now, the micro campaign is 200 or 300. We may identify 10,000 companies, but what we want to do is we want to break it up into bite-sized pieces. We don't want to go after 10,000 companies. We want to break it up into 200 or 300 increments. So we may identify a series, you know, 5 series of 200 or 300 companies, and then execute on 3 or 4 of those at a time. So we may be reaching out to 1,000, but we're doing it in smaller segments with different messaging to each, you know, micro campaign.
And how many micro campaigns? I mean, how much efforts, how many messaging or back and forth do you have before you're able to say, hey, Philippe, you should talk to Joe over there?
Yeah, maybe Olya, you could tell us kind of what you've seen historically, the cadence of messaging before a meeting.
So is it how many messaging does one campaign consist of, or how many campaigns do we run simultaneously?
No, how many messaging, like the connect, the follow up, you know?
Okay, yeah, so perfectly. And we actually saw these kind of responses when we hit the right type of people with the right profile. We just send, sometimes we really saw it that we send just connection message, and then people are interested to talk to us, and we don't even get to send a value proposition message. But it happens only when the value proposition is very specific and the ICP is very specific and there is like a match. But if that doesn't happen, we usually include 2 to 3 follow-ups that are spread throughout the month. And we can run a few campaigns at the same time, especially it depends on how many accounts we are able to use. And we see adding more accounts to, for example, LinkedIn outreach as more opportunities to test different ICPs and test different campaigns. And we don't want to run them, for example, for as long as we have prospects, as usually a lot of lead generation companies do. They just import the list and exhaust it till the end, and then come back to you to ask for a new list or for a new set of filters. No, we want to run it for like 2 weeks for a sprint, to do a sprint, listen to the data, see what kind of response we are getting from the market, and then decide if that makes sense to keep running it further, or if we need to change something. So we really like to be more personalized about it and data-driven in the decisions that we make.
And are you working out of LinkedIn connections we have already, or trying to reach to just people you identified that could be the right avatars?
So I would say that we can do both, and it really depends on the ICP. If our ICP is, we, for example, make a research of your current connections and see that the ICP that we want to target to is really your first degree connections, and that there's a good offer that we can approach them with, and they will be potentially interested in it, we can do that. Or we can reach out to a new bunch of people. The only, I would say, requirement for us is that we don't want to be too dispersed. So this, if you have connections that can be united under one ICP, then yeah, it makes sense to reach out to first degree connections. But we don't want to reach out to anyone with any offer, because we don't learn from it. And we want to learn what kind of offer and what kind of ICP is interested in your product or services.
Could you please define ICP? I'm lost.
Oh, yeah, the ideal client profile.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about using email addresses that we have already in our CRM?
Yeah, we are open to do it as well, or to generate more email addresses. We usually see email outreach as an additional activity that we do in addition to LinkedIn outreach. For example, we can reach out to the same prospects who confirmed your connection request on LinkedIn. We can reach out to them on email, assuming that they have already looked at your profile and have some background knowledge about your organization and your offering.
Okay.
Also, we usually advise our clients to add the secondary domain so that the main one doesn't get spammed. That's very important to us. To have all these security measurements in place.
So after 3 months of this exercise, what kind of return can we expect at that time?
Right. You know, there are a lot of different companies out there. We look at them and talk to them, and you know, anyone that's going to guarantee you any kind of dollar amount or guarantee you any kind of meetings usually fails. So we don't do any of that. I don't think it's honest. The deliverable that we have primarily is data from the activity. And so the data is either going to help you see failures or successes and patterns in either one, and to help you make better decisions so that you don't keep doing the same thing, same messaging to the same market and not getting any kind of response. So either changing the messaging, changing the market, maybe changing the offering, whatever it might be. We challenge our clients on that constantly to differentiate themselves, do competitive analysis, do a Google search on exactly what you're trying to offer, and see how many more companies come back. And you have to realize that Like one of our clients wanted to get into a market with an Internet of Things product, and we did an analysis on search engine optimization. And we came back and we said, hey, look, this website is getting tens of thousands of visitors. They are spending probably 20 grand a month on SEO. So you want to spend money on SEO, but you only want to spend 2 grand a month on it. You're not even competing with this company. Why even bother? So, those are the things that we try to help our clients think about is, not making decisions in a vacuum, but using the data to help with whatever's driving it. So yeah, the 90-day pilot is going to come back with meetings that you've had, who you've had them with, the good, the bad, the ugly, a volume of meetings, and a big volume of outreach. So even though the first KPI is a meaningful meeting, there is a lot of data that happens before that, who you're connecting with, who's responding. So we do look at that data as well. If we're not generating meetings, then we're going to come back and say, well, we've connected with hundreds of people with this message and no one wants to meet with you. I'm sorry, but we need to find somewhere else, to start hunting and looking.
So Mark, it's Jim Russo. Can you hear me okay now?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it's Jim Russo, brother. My mic was not on last time.
Oh, okay.
So I understand that it's not responsible to tell somebody with a COI is going to pay return on investment. So,
Okay.
How often do you provide reports to your clients? Is it bi-weekly? Is it monthly?
No, the reporting is actually real time. It's a Google sheet. The data, we have an API into LinkedIn, into the email and the phone. The data comes in every, as soon as it happens. And then we have the reports on top of it.
So the stuff that you just told us about that you suggested that there's really no sense spending the money or the resources because they're only spending $2,000 and this other website is spending $20,000 a month to get this substantial. It's still going to win most times, right? Because how does that message get conveyed to your customers? Just a verbal communication, or do you send some type of action report out to everyone that says, okay, here's what we think you need to do and enhance these outreaches?
I'm not. Did anyone else hear what he asked? I couldn't. I don't know if you can. If you can type it in the chat, maybe the question, then I can answer it. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thanks so much for all your questions, Philip. Hopefully you're asking things everyone's. Yeah, go ahead, David.
So one, I want to thank you for putting together this forum. I believe that there are probably 2 or 3 people on this call that there's some benefit both ways. So I've already reached out by way of so thank you for putting this together. I recognize your business model, and we can talk about this offline, but I imagine others here might have the same thought. My company is very specific. We offer a cheaper, faster, and easier solution to AWS Lambda. In addition, we offer a one-of-a-kind GPU sale that nobody else in the world offers. I'm not looking for consulting per se. I have a number of MSPs. I have a number of channel partners. I have a number of VARs. I took this meeting in expectation potentially that you and your Rolodex or your contact list probably have a significant number of warm leads that you could identify and already immediately put in touch with me. It's contrary to your business model, but are you open to potentially evaluating a warm lead production to a company like mine? And
yeah,
we're a pretty advanced company, though we're a startup by definition. We're not. We're patented. We're aligned with Lenovo. We're aligned with Cisco. We're a pretty big to do. We're patented. We've created something very unique, and I'm looking for enterprise and other size companies. Any company that uses ML, any company that uses AI, any company that uses high performance compute, or has lots of problems with AWS and Lambda. So if you'd be interested in doing that, I'd love to hear from you offline and set up a time.
Yeah, let's set up a time to talk about that, because we definitely have cross-pollination within the ecosystem of tech companies. And you've got to realize that we're doing this outreach for multiple companies. So our database of potential people to introduce you to, and I mean, there's a lot, there as far as warm introductions. I mean, my LinkedIn alone has almost 1,000. I have like 1,000 connections on it. So, there is a group of folks to mine to try and get you, because I assume you'd want to meet with these folks, right?
Yeah, not necessarily me, but my chief product officer or my VP.
Yeah, right.
Me, CEO, but people within my company.
Sure. Yeah, let's set something up.
I'll have my assistant set something up offline with you.
Okay. Yeah, sure thing.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, also.
So go ahead.
So thanks. So I just wanted to ask everyone to put their email address and phone number into the chat. So if we can send the recording after this event, and also if everyone wants to reach out to someone else, that would be the easiest way.
David, forgive me, what is your company name?
My company name is Rising Cloud, and Phil, I sent you a LinkedIn request already, as I did for Dijon and Andrew.
Awesome, that's great. That's what it's all about. Cool.
Are you creating different types of LinkedIn profiles to do your campaign? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're getting close to 2, but we primarily use our clients' existing profiles, but we do an audit on them, and we do want to help them take a look at them to make them more valuable as far as getting meetings. So I mean that is something we definitely work on is those profiles as well.
Okay.
But I want to thank everyone for coming, and really appreciate it. And feel free to reach out to me. I'd be glad to talk with you even further about it. And you're all welcome to come again. We meet every Wednesday, third Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So you're all welcome to attend again. And I should be getting another invite from us. And not sure of the topic next month, but we'll have something a little bit different for you. And again, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.